Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a full dedicated review on the new KVD foundation. This is part of the Good Apple range. I really love the initial one that they came out with, which was the Balm. So I decided to pick this up. I'm also going to be comparing these, giving you a wear test side by side. I thought that would be really helpful. If you're kind of on the fence, if this is something that you want to check out, the full name of this is the KVD Good Apple Full Coverage Serum Foundation. So the one previous was a balm. Obviously, this is a liquid formulation. Online, it is called the Full Coverage Transfer Proof Vegan Serum Foundation. It retails for $55 Canadian. The packaging is beautiful. It is glass with a plastic lid. I do have one issue with the lid. This is a fully recyclable packaging. For the formulation, it's said to be lightweight, full coverage. It is a serum foundation, natural finish, liquid formulation, transfer proof, vegan, best for oily combo and normal skin. I do have normal to slightly dry, so I will let you know how that works for me. Flashback free, pore blurring effect, non-comedogenic, stands up to sweat and humidity. We have a few highlighted ingredients, which is quince leaf extract, which helps keep shine in check, apple extract, which nourishes and keeps skin looking fresh, and glycerin, which nourishes skin for all-day comfort. You are supposed to shake this very well before you use it, so we're going to do that. And before I get into demo, I just wanted to show you the cap because I did mention that before I forget. So if you look really closely, you can see that there is a separation right there, and it's on both sides. So the front and back, there is this separation there. That is where the pump goes in. So if this is twisted any way that is not front facing or back, it is going to actually pump your foundation out when you try to put the cap on, because it has to be perfectly aligned for the cap to fit. And the absolute first time I used that, I did it because I wasn't even thinking. I just shoved it back on and it actually pumped it out in the lid. So now it's super messy, as you can see that. So don't do as I did. Just know ahead of time, if you have this, to be mindful of putting your cap back on in the right orientation, because otherwise it's going to actually pump out your foundation in the cap, which is super annoying for me. So I did want to mention that. Yes, I could store it without the cap, but I'm just going to be careful putting this on, but it just takes an extra second to do that. I don't like having to think when I put my products on. I have issues with brow pencils as well. If they're two different sizes on the ends and you accidentally put the wrong size on the brow pencil and squish that, it's just those little things that I wanted to point out because it is an annoyance to me as someone who loves makeup and purchases a lot. Do not like the cap. Love that it's recyclable. Don't love the design. In the new serum foundation, I have Tan 057. I decided to go a little bit deeper than my original balm because I found this one to be a little too light. You can see I've actually hit pan on this. So I have used it quite a bit. And in the balm, I have medium 45, which is a nice color most days. I don't even think this is gonna be dark enough for me. I do feel like these run slightly light. Just from swatches, what I was seeing, at least for where I fall in, I felt it a little bit hard to select a good medium tan color. It was just a little bit challenging for the swatches I found, but when I've used this, which I have used it multiple times, this is my full review. It's not a first impression. I noticed that the color is pretty good, but I feel like it could be a little bit better for me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pump this one pump onto the back of my hand. You can see the consistency there. My face is always lighter than my body. We're gonna be matching my neck. And for the wear test, I actually have a wear test of the side-by-side comparison for you, because I thought that would be the most beneficial to see how this wears, but also in comparison to the original Good Apple. If you have purchased that or were curious how they compare, what the differences are, I thought it'd be best to do that for you. We get really, really good coverage from just the first application. You can see this side of my face compared to this one, just how much that covers. Very good coverage. With that being said, it's not the most natural looking on my skin. I do prefer a medium buildable, and I do feel like full coverage in general, it's just not a natural look to the skin. It can have a natural finish. It's just with it being that perfect, it's not natural to me to have that perfect looking of skin. So it's based on preference. The Balm has a similar coverage. So if you've tried that, these are pretty much the same in terms of coverage going on the skin. And I did put a poll on my Instagram to see what one you guys preferred over there, because it's actually hard to tell the difference on my skin. You have to have a really keen eye for it, but they are very similar on my skin, and I will go into the noticeable differences after I apply this. But I just want to get a nice even layer so you can see just how this foundation looks like on the skin. So here's what the foundation looks like on my skin. Really great coverage. It feels lightweight. That claim, completely true. I don't really feel anything on my skin. When I feel my skin, it does feel a little bit slippery. It does eventually dry down, but because of that serum consistency, it just gives this a slip, especially if you get it on your fingers. If you put foundation on with your hands, you'll definitely be able to tell that this is a serum because of that slip that is in this foundation, which makes it go on really nice and evenly. I feel like it's very flattering on texture skin. I also feel like that less is more with this, and you really don't need a lot to get that full coverage. It really does a good job at giving you full coverage as soon as you swipe it on the skin. You can use this with a brush or a sponge, it says online. I just prefer putting my foundation on with a brush. It just gets that coverage on quicker, and you can go back in with a sponge just to get any excess off if you feel like it's looking a little too heavy, which can happen with this if you apply too much. On days when I've applied a little bit more just to see what this foundation can do, it can start looking heavy, and it can start actually looking a little bit dry because this has a more natural to matte finish on my skin. I feel like it is a fairly nice natural finish, but it leans more so matte. I do have normal skin, so I can see why they say this is better for those with combo oily skin types as opposed to even mentioning dry, because this could look dry. I feel like the color I have is fairly good. It does lean a little more yellow warm than what I typically go for, but I can definitely pull this off. So I'm going to go off camera, quickly put on the rest of my makeup so you can see how it applies to the skin. We will talk more about the foundation, how it wears, and I'm also going to show you wear tests and comparisons between the Good Apple Balm Foundation. I'm back. Here is the completed face with all the makeup put on. I'll have everything linked down below as I always do in what I'm wearing. I did set my face with powder. I don't feel like I absolutely need to. You would have seen prior to me going off camera, it unset. I feel like it looks beautiful that way. Can look a little bit dry with powder. However, that makes sense because this is leaning more matte on my skin, so I technically wouldn't need to set it. However, the days that I haven't set this foundation, the wear isn't there for me. I thought this was a long wear foundation, but I'm looking into all the claims and it just says it's transfer proof, which I do agree with. I feel like the wear fades a little bit on days when I don't set with powder. When I do set this foundation, I do feel like it wears beautifully throughout the day, which brings me into the comparison between the Serum Foundation and the Balm Foundation, the Good Apple foundations from KVD. So I am going to let you guys know how these compare. I'm going to show you various side-by-side images. The Serum Foundation says it's flashback free. I do use a big bright light on this foundation, and what was really interesting is that when I'm comparing these two foundations, that in natural light, you guys like the Balm on my skin better, but when I did artificial light, it's actually kind of hard to tell because I feel like artificial light perfects everything. Natural light is more true to how we would go about our day, and I felt the exact same way. And this is why I always say for foundations on camera, it's always a little bit different because a matte foundation or a more matte leaning one just translates better on camera. For a setup, it does. And something like this with the full coverage, it just looked more youthful on my skin for an everyday natural lighting sort of look, which majority also agreed they liked that. However, the Serum Foundation was actually more perfecting on my skin. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. The finishes are different. I do feel like the wears are different. The transfer proof claim. What I feel are the differences that set these apart is that the Serum Foundation is more thin. It's also more smoothing, so good for those with texture. It doesn't look as heavy as the balm, that can just sit a little bit differently on the skin. You can tell it's just a thicker product, which makes sense just from the texture of it alone. It's just thicker. However, due to the hydrating quality of this, and not to say that the serum is dry by any means, because my skin does feel hydrated. It just is the finish that I'm talking about. The finish of this is more natural, leaning glowy. It is more natural on my skin to begin with, but then it leans definitely more dewy. You can see in the wear test how this becomes just a little bit shinier than the Serum Foundation. The Serum Foundation holds up, so I can definitely see that sweat and humidity claim that it has. It stands up to that, because compared to the balm, it definitely did stand up better for that claim, because I was getting more shiny on the side that had the balm on it. In terms of how they're similar, I do feel like when you initially apply them, you can't really tell a difference. For me, you could, because I had different colors, but apart from that, it's very, very hard to tell, which can be seen in the artificial lighting. It's pretty much 50-50. It was split down the middle. Some like the serum on my skin better, some like the balm. And at the end of the day, it's based on personal preference, what you would like. I really wanted to showcase these two side by side, because initially when I applied it on, it was very similar. Because of that full coverage it gives you right away. Both just go there. You don't have to really build it up. It gives you that coverage if that's what you're looking for. The wear is decent on both. The balm will transfer. So that's what sets this apart. This says it's transfer proof. I would agree with that, because I was touching my face equally, usually pushing back my hair on the hairline, and you can actually see on the side with the balm where it came off a little bit, but it didn't do so on the serum side, which is great to test out that transfer proof claim. However, both wore similarly throughout the day. They had a decent amount of wear. I wouldn't say that either of them is overly long wearing. I would reach for a different foundation if specifically I wanted to wear this a good 16 hours or something extensive. I did wear them both for quite a while, say 10 hours, and you can see they held up pretty good, but in the end I would reach for something else if I was going for something more long wearing. And also they both need to be powdered if I want that wear to be there. Otherwise, I don't feel like the serum does have that wear, which I was looking for. So all in all, I was a huge fan of the balm when it came out, and the serum is a great contender for those who may not have liked the finish of this and were looking for something thinner, more natural leaning matte, and longer wearing. I feel like you would really, really like that. If those were your complaints about this and you felt it was too hydrating looking, too dewy, you'd probably really like this. When it comes down to repurchasing for me, I'm going to be repurchasing the balm over this one. I don't think it's a returnable item. It's not bad. It held up to all the claims that it suggested. There was a couple things I didn't like about it. The cap being one of them, still find that super annoying. But the formulation is great, and I feel like if you do like full coverage foundations, then you would really, really like this. Full coverage, natural leaning matte. You would really, really like it. I do prefer medium buildable, so for me, I don't reach for the balm every day. I have made quite a bit of a dent in it. I do feel like this one would last you longer. You would run out of this one quicker, so I guess that's another positive towards the Serum Foundation. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I know I did it a little bit differently, and I feel like when I'm doing my foundation reviews, they're a little bit shorter because I am testing these out fully before coming to you with my review and really putting them to the test to see, is this something that is worth your money? I hope this helps you out decide whether this looks good enough for you to purchase. As I said, I do like it. I like the balm better. At the end of the day, that's what I'm going to be repurchasing, and if you have similar taste to me in makeup, I feel like even though my texture was a little bit more visible, I do like the more youthful look to the skin, even if it's at the expense of my texture. So those are my final thoughts and opinions on the new KVD Good Apple Serum Foundation. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this style, like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up to let me know, and I'll definitely continue to do my foundation reviews more in depth like this in the future. So thank you guys so much for clicking on my video and wanting to know my review on this product. I really appreciate the support. Let me know what you'd like to see next in the comment section below. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed already, I would absolutely love for you to join my channel here by hitting the red subscribe button, the bell to be notified of all my future videos, and I will see you guys in my next one.